Money got me like, pussy got me like, money got me like, money got me like, money got me like, pussy got me like, if I don't get what I dream,
Bang, bang. Back at it. Appreciate y'all tuning in to episode 8 of the Why Not podcast. This week's episode is with professional soccer player and speed and agility coach, Mr. Rob Acosta. Rob Acosta plays defender for the St. Louis Ambush here. He was actually the Arena Soccer League Defender of the Year last year, the Major Arena Soccer League Defender of the Year. Got to make sure I get that correct. Get my man his plugs right. Rob, man, he is a fucking cool ass dude. He is definitely somebody who has made made the most out of every single opportunity that he's had in his life, and he's also worked his fucking ass off to get those opportunities. Love hearing stories like this, and being able to connect with such high functioning individuals. Somebody who's not afraid to fucking put his nose to the grindstone and keep it pushing. I've actually been following Rob on Instagram now for probably about 6 to 8 months before I even realized that he played for the Ambush. I knew he was a professional soccer player, and that he was working with a lot of people doing speed and agility stuff. I mean, he's got almost 14,000 followers on Instagram now, just solely based off of the content that he puts out. Make sure you definitely check him out on Instagram. I'll put a link to his page in the show notes as well, but it's at Acosta Fitness. The man is fucking awesome. He's definitely got what it takes to change lives. And like I said, I love being able to connect with people like this and hear their stories and see not only where they've been, but where they plan to go as well. As always, make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, fucking rate the podcast. Please tell a friend to tell a friend. Numbers keep growing every single week, and I just really wanted to say thank you to everybody who is tuning in faithfully, religiously, and adding me to your podcast lineup. I know it's hard trying to fucking juggle the Rogans and the fucking everything else out there. So for you guys to really take the time out of your day and, listen to me and my fucking ramblings, it really means a lot to me. So I just want to make sure that you guys know that you are greatly, greatly appreciated. As always, I don't want to keep you too long, but I do want to make sure that you guys are liking, commenting, and subscribing. All it does is help the podcast out. And I don't want to announce it just yet, but we are going to be having our first sponsor on the podcast coming up in the next few weeks. So I'm very, very, very excited about that. And to share that with you guys, it will be amazing. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in as always. Here's episode 8.
money got me like,
Check these levels here.
Yeah, man, it's official. Headphones, mic, everything, dude. Sweet.
Dude, and this setup itself, those headphones all right?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
They kind of seem a little tight on my head. I got a big head though. But all right, man. Hell yeah. Fucking finally glad to have you. Robert Acosta, man. You go by Rob or Robert?
Rob.
Rob.
And it's
yeah.
Acosta.
Oh, Acosta.
Hard
okay.
Yep. Not a lot of people know that.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Yeah, you probably fucking dealt with that your whole life.
Yeah.
Dude,
Story of my life.
Dude, my entire life I grew up, Justin Brinker? No, bitch, it's Bricker. There's Brick and Brick and That's it. That's it.
Where are you making up these extra letters? I don't get it.
Dude, forever. 3 weeks ago, my daughter, she got honored at her school for an excellence award, and her last name's hyphenated. She's Kylie Nickum Bricker. And even then, Kylie Nickum Brinker. I'm like, God, fucking 20 years later, 25 years later, and she's dealing with my fucking troubles.
I love it, man. I went and did a news station interview a couple days ago, and the lady, the newscast lady, always has a hard time remembering my last name, and so I go to her, on her screen. She actually has it like and then the word coast,
phonetically.
And then the word yep. She's like, I will not mess this up this time.
Put this on airplane mode, dude. I have the worst fucking issue of my phone going off in the middle of the podcast, whether it's my alarm, a text message. I'm so bad.
Dude, I'm
about
glad
that.
you did that, man. I might as well do that too, actually.
It's you know what? I'm not gonna edit it out if it goes off or anything, but this part of the journey. Oh well. But yeah, man, fucking finally got to be able to sit down with you. Both of us had some conflicting schedules, and we both been sick, and no, it's finally fucking glad to have you here, man.
Yeah, it's meant to be.
So did you guys have? Well, I guess to backtrack a little bit, Robert Acosta, Rob, for those who listen, professional soccer player for St. Louis Ambush, and like I said, man, fucking glad to have you here. How the fuck did you end up here, though? How do you end up in St. Charles, Missouri?
Man, it's been a crazy journey. Crazy journey. I always sit back and look at it, and I'm like, man, how did I end up here? Where am I going? What's my direction? But it's been a blessing, man. So I started playing indoor soccer back in 2012. Had a very rocky road. Faced a couple injuries. Was out for a couple seasons. But long story short, I ended up going to Rochester, New York to play, Cedar Rapids, Iowa to play, and then my coach from Cedar Rapids actually ended up here in St. Louis a couple seasons ago. So called me up as soon as he signed here and said, hey man, we want to bring a couple veterans down. You know my system, I like what you stand for as a player, so how do you feel about coming down, signing here, and moving to St. Louis? And I was like, well, my contract's up in Cedar Rapids, so might as well, man. We'll check it out. Next city on the list is my 9th city in the last 4 years. So
9 cities. So where all have you been?
Let's see. So I've been Rochester, New York, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Chicago, Illinois, a brief stint in Denmark, a little bit longer stint in Sweden, and then Virginia Beach and Norfolk, Virginia.
Sweden and Denmark, though.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's on my bucket list, is to hit some of those Scandinavian countries, man.
That's been the highlight, man. Scandinavia was completely off my radar, but I've talked to a lot of soccer players who have always said, hey, go to Norway, go to Sweden. There's a huge avenue for American soccer players there. And man, I'm super grateful because I'm a big outdoors guy.
Right.
Love nature. And man, there's so many nature preservation laws in place in that area of the world that it's like, man, there's untouched lands, like everything is just more vibrant, man. The plants are more vibrant, the sun, everything's beautiful. It's a beautiful time.
And all the beautiful white women you can imagine over there.
Yep, of course, yes, yep. There's a very, very fair-skinned woman out there. Yeah.
Yes, blonde hair, blue eyes, quite Aryan, huh?
Yes.
That's too fun. So how long were you in Sweden for? Well, I guess in Scandinavia for. Were you just there for camps or just playing a little bit? And
yeah, I was in Denmark for a month. We were doing I was with an agency, and they had us scheduled against. We had 9 matches against various Premier Division, First Division, Second Division teams. And the goal was essentially to get scouted in those matches. So
Gotcha.
Went in. That was another crazy part of my journey, man. I'd gone out there. I'd signed with an agent a couple years ago. He didn't end up doing anything for me. He was kind of, to be honest, kind of a waste of time. Was elusive, very hard to get a hold of. Would only get a hold of me when he needed something from me. So I found another agency, and they're the ones that took me to Sweden, to Denmark. So I was doing well there and had a couple offers. People were interested, but they had to get clearance from my former agent because I was still technically under contract with him.
yeah.
So we spent 2 weeks when I was in Denmark trying to get a hold of the guy. And between those 2 weeks, most of the teams ended up dropping their offers, signing other players. There was guys that went with the agency with me,
Right.
that they ended up getting, they took them as center backs instead of me. But luckily, man, God has a plan, and everything was blessed. And there's a team in Sweden that found me. So after about a month in Denmark, a team in Sweden found me, and then I was out there for 3 months.
Man, that's got to be fucking terrible. It's like you have this opportunity right in front of your face. It's everything you've always been working for. And because some jackass on the other side of the world won't pick up his phone, you can't go and run with everything that you've been chasing.
Story of my life, man. It's good for me, man. Like it was another situation where I had to truly identify what my controllables were, because that's where a lot of people fuck up, man. They get caught up in the non-controllables and these circumstances and situations that they can't control. I couldn't control the fact that he wasn't answering his phone. I couldn't control anything else besides, and it started to get very stressful, man. It started to get one of those things where, it could have impacted how I played on the field. It could have impacted my relationship with the guys around me because I was starting to get frustrated and depressed. But I sat down and I thought about what can I control here, and it's my mentality, it's my performance on the field, and it's my drive and my faith moving forward, and continue to control those, and everything panned out just how it should.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, that's and like you said, that's something that people get stuck on, is trying to control things that they have no fucking power over. Because at the end of the day, you can't control free will, and somebody else, like for your example, somebody else not answering their phone you have absolutely no power over that. And when it could be the thing that essentially catapults you into a completely opposite direction, you're not only thinking about that when it's just on your mind, that's at your subconscious at all fucking times. So like you said, yeah, the relationships with your teammates, even if you guys aren't fucking talking about soccer, you guys are out having beers or whatever, like that's there at all fucking times.
You nailed it, dude. I mean, when you wake up first thing in the morning, when you're standing in the shower, last thoughts at bed, anytime you're about to eat, like literally it just lingers.
Yeah, man, that's fucking terrible. And so you said you had some injuries as well. That's something I've fucking had to deal with my body's made of glass, man. Like torn meniscus in my right knee. I did that bowling.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was drunk and fucking walked into the bar at the bowling alley. I was on a league for a couple of years, and one of number one rules in bowling is you never wear your shoes in the bathroom, outside, or in the bar. And stepped on the sticky bar floor and went to go slide my foot when I threw the ball, and my foot didn't slide and my knee went right out to the side. Oh yeah, it was terrible. It was terrible. I did that. I tore my labrum all the way through in my right shoulder playing football when I was 17. I have a partially torn one in my left one. Like I said, man, I fucking
holy cow, man.
Body's made of glass. Jeez. So that's like something I've been focusing on. Like we were talking before the podcast. I quit my job working for my dad in the corporate world, and I've been focusing on doing what I love every single day. And for the last 2 years, that's consisted of jiu-jitsu and training and recovery and trying to make my body healthier and stronger as well as my mind. So what kind of things have you had to go through where, I guess not what kind of things, what did you go through, and what did you do to recover from those?
Yeah, so the biggest injury I went through, I got a sports hernia. So in most hernias, the intestine pokes through the abdominal wall and creates kind of separation between the abdominal muscles. With a sports hernia, muscles actually tear away from the pelvis and tear away from the ligament that attaches them to the pelvis. So I had a couple of my adductor muscles, which are in the groins, and then a couple of my rectus abdominis, which is the front layer of abs,
right.
Just completely popped off the pelvis, and it was a rough situation because it happened at a time where I was in between contracts with soccer teams. So I had earned my first pro contract, 7 months before. Was at an ultimate high. That team folded, and then I started going to combines and tryouts and camps and everything for a couple other teams, and that's when the sports hernia happened. So I didn't have a team to fall back on as far as paying for the surgery. I didn't have insurance. I didn't have anything like that. So I just had to essentially step away from the game, quit that pursuit for a little bit and just focus on just making enough money to get the surgery done. So anyway, so that's a whole other story. But yeah, I had the sports hernia on the left side. While I was recovering from that and doing the rehab for it, I actually did the same exact thing on the right side because the muscles had started to do some funky things to kind of compensate. All that. So those are the two biggest injuries that I had. And then I also had a kind of a weird ankle surgery a couple of years ago too. So I grew up having tons and tons of ankle pain. Just anytime I struck the ball, anytime I was using it for prolonged periods of time. Right. Doctors always told me, they're like, yo man, you just have weak ankles. You just need to do ankle rehab, ankle therapy. Like here's a band, do these banded exercises. And so I was always like super like, all right.
How demeaning is that? Like, bitch, I'm a grown ass man. I know. Tell me I got weak ankles.
Like I haven't been doing this shit for 10 years, man. Come on. So anyway, so I get to this team, one of the teams in Virginia Beach, and sure enough, I meet with the team doctor, and she goes, within 5 minutes of meeting me, she goes, "No, you have osteotrigonum. There's an extra bone in the back part of your ankle, so anytime you point your toe down and lock it, the nerve endings wrap around the bone and causes a lot of swelling, pain. It actually causes a bunch of little microfiber tears in there, which causes more inflammation, stuff like that. Just like 1% of humans are affected by it, and only a tiny percentage of those are affected because it's only soccer players and ballet dancers that constantly have their foot in that toe down.
Yeah, that.
The
plantar flex.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's it's no wonder no doctor had ever heard of it. I just had to find the right doctor that had heard of it. But yeah, man. So that was kind of a crazy injury too. That just years and years of ankle pain, and then sure enough, as soon as they went in and sliced off that part of the bone, boom, nothing since then.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But so and you said, so how does it work with insurance as a professional soccer player in the indoor leagues? Do teams offer you full coverage, health insurance and stuff?
Yeah, most teams, depends on what team you play for, but most teams have a good relationship with the area hospital. So we actually have a very good relationship with Mercy.
Right.
They're even on the front of our jerseys.
Yeah, I've
So
seen
they-
that.
Yeah, so they provide us with trainers, and they help us out with certain medical costs and things. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if there's like a way that the league governs it, but I'm pretty sure each team just has a relationship with the hospital and then has their own coverage policy.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's not like you guys don't have like a CBA or anything like that states that you need health insurance and you have to have health insurance per team or everything like that, kind of like they do in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, they could have something like that at the ownership level, but I'm not too familiar with it, to be honest.
Gotcha. All right.
I just know they take care of us if we get injured, and yeah, I've never had an issue here in St. Louis. So
Well, fucking knock on wood, man. How's
yeah,
that?
right.
So you said you've been playing for 9 years now, right? Professionally?
Professionally, I got my first contract in 2012.
2012, so
it'll be
7 years.
7 years, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, and were you just getting out of college then, or?
I was actually 3 years out of college at that point. I graduated college December of 2009.
And where'd you go?
Wartburg College, small town, Waverly, Iowa.
Okay.
So it was crazy, man. I grew up in Tucson, Arizona, city.
My favorite place in the world, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah, my fucking favorite. So, like I was telling you before the podcast, when I worked for my dad, I'm sorry to cut you off, but
No, go ahead. Let's talk about Tucson.
dude, I fucking I sold produce, and we had lettuce fields in Yuma, Arizona, and in Salinas, California. We'd grow in Yuma during the winter months and Salinas during the summer months. So the only way to fucking go is to fly into Phoenix, and we'd go spend a night in Tucson and get fucking hammered, and then drive out to the fields and watch people pick lettuce for 10 hours a day. Yeah. And I've said this forever, and I will stay on this. There's no state that I've been to that has more beautiful women than Arizona. It's just a fact.
It is.
I've been to 19 of all of the states now, and Arizona by far has the most beautiful fucking women I've ever seen in my life. I think part of that's got to do with the college and everything, though.
Yeah, I won't argue with you. But yeah, man, especially in that Phoenix Scottsdale area.
Yeah. But yeah, continue. I'm sorry. Continue.
Yeah, man. So, forgot where it was. Oh yeah. So left Tucson, city of 500,000 people, and ended up in small town Waverly, Iowa, which was a town of 10,000 people. So it's complete culture shock. I go from being in a city of Mexicans everywhere you look. Half the people are speaking in Spanish. I'm half Mexican, so And Waverly, I think there was a total of like 5 colored people total between the blacks and the Mexicans on campus. The first year that I got there.
Yeah.
Granted, it got a little bit more diverse, as I was there, but it was always a joke. But yeah, man. So I was there till 2009, and then moved back home to Arizona for a couple months after I graduated college. I kind of felt like I was spinning my wheels. And
What'd you get a degree in?
fitness management.
That's kind of what I figured.
Yeah.
That's dude. Actually, before I even found out that you played for the Ambush, I'd been following you on Instagram for a while. I follow the speed and agility hashtag, and I've seen all kinds of your stuff on a lot of your plyo stuff. If you check my Instagram, I actually have some of your workouts on there too, man. So thank you, by the way.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
man.
dude, I love it. That's what I love to strength training and powerlifting and all that stuff's cool, but I was a track guy. I was a football player my whole life. Like, that's the stuff I live and breathe for, is the speed and agility workouts and doing plyos and figuring out new ways to break myself, you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, you had asked a second ago what type of things I'd done for my injuries, and it was funny when I was laid up for my first sports hernia. I was out I had to save money for about a year and a half before I could get the surgery.
Right.
And my doctor told me literally to keep things from getting worse, I was to go to work and then go lay in bed, go to work and go lay in bed.
Oh, you mean go die?
Yeah, pretty much. So
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
man, like that's so you know, it was depressing, for a very long time. But the biggest thing that I started doing was learning how to make myself. I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna write my comeback regimens. I'm gonna learn how to write my speed and agility regimens. I'm not gonna seek another trainer or anything like that. So sure enough, man, I just started taking speed and agility, specialty certifications, and reading up on all kinds of material for that, and wrote my own workout regimens coming back, and that's when I truly fell in love with the process of like you said, how to break yourself, how to make yourself an absolute animal. And,
Yeah.
and in the process, I figured out how to help people, and I'm so thankful for Instagram, man, because before that, I didn't really have a channel of helping that many people, and now I can just record myself doing an exercise, put it up, and before I know it, my videos are getting about 100,000 views right now.
Yeah.
Thank God. And that's just 100,000 people that'll just have a new exercise to try, just like that.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
And to me, I always think of like views and followers as like, how many people could you put in a stadium, right? Like,
Right.
Think of that, 100,000 views, 100,000 people are watching that. That's filling up Madison Square Garden 5 times.
Dude, I didn't even think about that. That's
yeah,
nuts.
yeah, that's like just to think that, and even if 10% of those people are only taking something from that, like look how many lives you're changing, look how many lives you're helping, you're impacting. Like that's the shit that really fucking gets me going. Like, I've always said it that my understanding of things like athletically will always be better than my physical ability. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to toot my own horn and think I'm a pretty damn good athlete, but like, I know my understanding is I'm always going to be a better coach than I will be an athlete. So it's like to see somebody like you who's doing the same thing, but you're still a goddamn professional athlete. Like it gets me so fired up. I love to see that. It just motivates me, man.
Appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
hell yeah. So back to if I always fucking get going off on tangents. So a year and a half it took you to save up for the surgery. You get your speed and agility stuff taken care of, and then where does that put you?
Yeah, so I'll even backtrack it, another second, because I know we were talking about how I ended up in Virginia Beach the first time. So I moved back home after college and spent a couple months there, and didn't really feel like I was doing anything, man. I wanted to play soccer. I knew I wanted to play soccer, and started just kind of wasting my time, and wheels were spinning, and I was like, that's it. I'm getting out of here. So looked at a few places on the East Coast, and my girlfriend at the time was looking to go to college in Virginia, and so I was like, well, I might as well just hop out to Virginia too and try to find a professional team in the area, try for them.
Live.
Yep, exactly. Yep. So, so I ended up just we found an area right between Norfolk and Virginia Beach where there was a bunch of semi-pro, amateur teams. So I was like, well, that's it. I'm going, and with it, so moved out there. Within 2 weeks of being there, I just started going to the games of those teams and just checking out which ones I liked. And after the second game, I went
in the crowd. I'm better than that motherfucker.
I was like doing my scouting report, right?
Hell yeah.
So I go down after one of the games, and I was like, all right, well, it's between these two teams. And so I went down to one of them and just introduced myself to the coach after the match and said, hey, coach, really good match, enjoyed watching it. My name's Robert Costa. I just moved here from Arizona. I'm trying to play professionally, yada, yada, yada. And so he said, well, we've got a pretty full roster for this season, but if you want to come out and train with us, you can at least do that. And then, coming to next season, we'll consider you. I was like, cool, sounds good, man. When's the next training session? It's like Monday afternoon. Showed up Monday afternoon, killed it. And by Saturday, they had offered me a contract, and I was playing in their next game.
Oh shit! There was somebody on the bench who was not happy that game.
Man, it's such a dog-eat-dog world in that sense. But I was ready, man. I was ready, and I knew it, and they knew it. They saw it. So it was cool.
Well, in all professional sports, at the end of the day, like whether you're on a team sport or an individual sport, it's a business, right? And you are your own business before the team, right? So it's like, yeah, it sucks for that guy, but you had to do what you had to do to fucking put food on the table for yourself,
Right.
It's like it's not your fault that he didn't beat you out.
Right.
You earned that. Like that, and that's another thing I love about sports so much. Like, if that person's on the field, it's for a reason. They work their fucking ass off to do so. And I mean, you went a step further. You took it upon yourself. You weren't scouted by this team. You went out there, you introduced yourself, and you made that shit fucking happen. You manifested your own destiny right there.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, that shit just gets me so hyped. I love that. I love that, man. So you're in Virginia Beach, and then from there, where do you go?
So from that team even, so they ended up folding after the next season. So it was funny because the other team that I was out watching with them that night was actually from Virginia Beach, the Piranhas. So I ended up going to them and saying, hey, this team folded. Can I play for you guys? And sure enough, they welcomed me in, and I started playing there. So I played there for a season, and then that team, the ownership from that team, bought into the Major Arena Soccer League. So they bought a team, they bought a franchise, they started a franchise in Norfolk, Virginia, which is right next to Virginia Beach.
Right.
So they brought in a coach, started bringing in players, told me they wanted me to play for that indoor team.
So the Virginia Beach team that you were playing for was outdoor?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Yep. So sure enough, so I started training with them. The coach didn't offer me a spot initially on the team because he wanted more veteran players, and to be honest, I wasn't good enough at that point. Of course, at the time I thought I was. I was pissed. I was like,
Hell
what?
yeah.
No, sign me. Like I deserve, whatever. I had a lot to grow, and thankfully I've grown since then.
Mentally and physically.
Right, 100%. Yep. So he told me, come out to the training and do what you can, and if there's a point in the season we need you, then we'll sign you at that point. So I showed up every single day to training for the first 4 months, had to drive an hour to training, an hour home, had to do it around working, 40 to 50 hours a week.
Were you working in a gym or?
I was doing personal training for about 15 hours a week, and then I was working for Domino's Pizza for about 40 hours a week.
Yeah, making your dreams happen, man.
Yeah, man, had to. Yep, I was a delivery driver. It's funny, man. I was a delivery. I worked my way up. Dude, I've always worked my way up every single position I've ever been in. So Domino's, man, I started off as an inside customer service rep, moved to a driver. They moved me up to an assistant manager, and then to a manager. But yeah, man, it helped pay a lot of bills, while soccer wasn't paying the bills, that's for sure. So anyone who thinks that they can't work a part-time job while they're pursuing their dreams, fuck that. Like, get out there and grind. If you got to work for Dom, if you got to deliver pizzas, deliver fucking pizzas. If you got to bag groceries, fucking bag groceries. Do what you got to do.
People think that it's like a step back in life, when really it's just something that's going to keep the wheels turning, keep you going.
Right.
Like you hear about, Kurt Warner. Like Kurt Warner was playing part-time arena football and was bagging groceries in fucking Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah.
And then a year later, he was the NFL MVP and won a Super Bowl with the greatest fucking show on turf, So it's like, I work with a lot of professional fighters here, training in St. Charles. And, to see the grind that some of these guys put in. Like, I know how physically demanding soccer can be. I went to CBC here in St. Louis, which is like the freaking mecca of Missouri soccer, right? And so actually Terry Mickler, who's the head coach there still, is the nation's all-time win leader in any sport. Yeah, I think when I was there 7 years ago, he broke the record for 859 wins, and they've won 5 state championships since then. I mean, so I've seen what it takes, but I mean, obviously that's at the high school level, but these kids are training like professional athletes. Like a kid that I went to high school with, AJ Cochran, he got drafted by the Houston Dynamo first round, like 2-time Gatorade All-American Player of the Year. Fucking was, I think he was 3-time All-Conference in the Big Ten at Wisconsin. I mean, I think he plays for Atlanta United now. I think they're 2 teams, right? They have 3 teams. Isn't that how that goes? Yeah, I think so. But seeing some of these guys who come into the gym after working 65 hours a week and then getting just beat down for 5.5 hours of practice, sometimes 2.5 hours MMA or 2 hours MMA and then another 2 hours of jiu-jitsu, and then they're staying to hit the bag and fucking. So it's like, to see people like that and like yourself, I think people have to see that to really believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was like I told you, I was working for my dad, and I'm working 70 hours a week on the road, and I'm like, how the fuck do people have time to chase their dreams? But I wasn't realizing I was spending those other 40 to 50 hours a week thinking about how I hated my life and how I hated this shit and what I'm gonna do to get out of here, instead of focusing on the extra. It's like, you don't work fucking 65 hours a week to build somebody else's dream. You do that so you can sustain the life to build your own.
Hell yeah.
So you go from West Virginia to Domino's to where do you head from there?
So, yeah, man. So anyway, so that coach ended up signing me in February. And that's so I got my first pro contract, and that's when I got injured. So after that I got injured, had to move back to Arizona for a couple of years. Moved in with my sister and my brother-in-law. Worked for a year and a half, but it took me about a year to save up and get ready for the surgery. My time back in Arizona was a huge blessing too, man. I learned a lot about it was the bottommost part of my life as far as what most people think. I was broke, I was injured, I just gotten out of a long-term relationship.
Kind of felt like your whole world was crashing.
Everything, man. I was back in Arizona with less than $20 and 5 outfits, and I just had to think about, all right, how am I going to get back to professional soccer? So started working, started doing some personal training. Started picking up as many hours as I could, but it wasn't footing the bill to start off. So I also found a job with this bill collecting company that was collecting from parents with sick kids that needed feeding tubes and food formulas and shit like that. And so so it was like, hey, we know you're dealing with a lot, but you owe us 10 grand, so come on, pay up. And
right.
Stole part of my soul, man.
That's what I was gonna say. That's exactly what I was getting ready to say. So I sold auto warranties for a while, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, it's super cutthroat. It's closed right now on the phone, and like the product itself was good, but the process was terrible. Right? Like, they preyed on old people and people on disability, and it was just all scare tactics. So it's like I kind of felt like I was taking advantage of grandmas and half retarded people, and it was fucking awful. And now you're on the phone with, oh yeah, my son just got out of surgery for his stage 4 cancer, but I don't have your $17,000 right now.
Right.
And you're like, I don't blame you. Please just make sure he's okay.
You want to say a prayer with me over the phone real quick?
Right, like I got my Bible right here. Oh man.
But it was means to an end, so I did it, and then I ended up getting a killer job with GoDaddy. You ever heard of GoDaddy?
Yeah,
Shout
man.
out
Danica Patrick.
Yeah, man. She kills it. Yeah, man. Greatest, one of the greatest companies out there, man. I started working for them, and long story short, ended up getting my, the surgical price tag went from about 20 grand down to, I think I ended up paying like $97 or something because of the healthcare, the
Health insurance.
GoDaddy.
Holy shit.
So it was great, man. So I ended up getting the surgery, tore the other side, got the other surgery, rehab from that, and then from there, the team that was.
So is this about like a 2.5 year process between recovery and surgery, and
Yeah.
getting the surgery and then recovery?
Yeah, injury happened middle of 2012, or I'm sorry, beginning of 2012. No, June of 2012. Yep. And then the first surgery happened December 2013.
Gotcha.
So yeah, about a year and a half, almost 2 years. Yeah, year and a half.
Okay.
So yeah, man. So from there, the team that was watching me when I got injured, I was actually in camp with the team in Rochester, New York. I kept in touch with them throughout the surgery process. Let them know, hey, I'm saving for my surgery. Hey, I'm actually getting my surgery. Hey, I'm rehabbed. Hey, I have to get another surgery. I was keeping them in the loop the whole time. And sure enough, when I was finally healthy and able to go, they said, hey, come on out. We'll take a look at you. You can have another tryout. I was there for a week, and they offered me a contract. So re-signed there. Was there for a season. They folded. Went to Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Was there for 2 seasons, and then that's when I went to Sweden, Denmark, and then when I got back from Sweden, that's when I came to St. Louis.
Gotcha. So when you came back from the injury, do you think obviously your body's never going to be physically the same after a major injury like that, but do you think being mentally stronger made your game better?
I think everything made my game better, man. To be honest, we talked about it a little bit before, but the injury process, when I really learned about the training process, how to train my body, how to make it a machine, not only from a physical standpoint, from a workout standpoint, but from a nutrition standpoint. So I came back from that surgery stronger, faster, more healthier, leaner, more muscle mass than ever, man. I was the heaviest I'd ever been, but at the lowest body fat percentage. And yeah, man, you touched on it, just the mental strength, the mental fortitude that came from all that, and seeing what I could do, what I was capable of. You know, I had multiple people tell me I'd never play soccer again, and just put my head down and I worked, and I proved to myself and I proved to everyone around me and everything that if you just put your head down and work, you can do it. You know.
Right. So what's the typical week look like for a professional soccer player?
We got generally, you know, I keep busy. I try to keep busy. I can't.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, that's good though.
Yeah, I'm trying to build a fitness brand, and I got some big visions as far as how I can leave my mark and impact the world. But for now, you know, it's generally we train 5 days a week. So we'll get in Monday morning. We'll have a gym session. Generally, it's a recovery session from the weekend. We'll play, you know, 1 or 2 matches on the weekend. So we'll have like a recovery style session on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We'll have team trainings once or twice a day. Thursday and Friday we'll have film analysis sessions, and then Friday, Saturdays are always geared up toward matches or pre-game day matches. And in the evenings we'll do a lot of appearances in the community. Like tonight I'll be at Chili's up on Mid Rivers doing an appearance. For fans, trying to meet and greet fans. Tomorrow night I'll be at Stefanina's, which is one of the Italian restaurants in the area.
One of my favorites.
Yeah?
Yeah. So I grew up in O'Fallon, so like there was a Stefanina's right up the street from my house. Yeah, at football games, baseball games, always went to Stefanina's.
Yeah, man.
Hey, try the shrimp pizza.
Shrimp pizza, okay.
Shrimp pizza, yeah.
I just got put onto their chicken parm. I'm not a fan of Provel cheese, not being from the St. Louis area, but their chicken parm, their chicken parm, that Provel, I'll do some stuff for that Provel on that chicken parm.
So you don't like Emos?
You know, actually, I just tried Emos. I've got a friend that's from St. Louis, and she's been telling me I needed to have Emos, and I keep telling her I'm not a fan of Provel cheese, but I finally tried Emos, and it's not bad.
It's not bad. So check this out. When I sold produce, Emos was one of my customers, and they actually own Provel cheese, like they own the patent for Provel cheese. So any Provel cheese that is distributed in the United States, Emo sees a check from.
That's fantastic.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't
that crazy?
They just changed the game. They're like, we just want our own kind of cheese. We're going to do that, and then we're going to sell it.
Yep, you motherfuckers want it? Come get some.
Yeah. That's funny, man. I was having that conversation with someone not too long ago, actually. They said they weren't sure. I got to remember who it was because they said they weren't sure. They're like, I think that all the cheese comes from Emos, but I'm not sure. So now I'm going to have to go back and tell them, yep.
Yeah, so they bought the rights from Kraft late 70s. Emos has been around since the early 60s. They started out at a little bitty shop downtown, and their cash register was a fucking tackle box, and all they had was one fridge and one oven. So,
fantastic.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool story. I went to they have the compound is what they call it. It's up on Topping Road in South City. It's like, I want to say like maybe 200 acres or something like that. And there's an Emos that they built on their property for like that they have like all like their family reunions and stuff. It's like the biggest Emo store that there is, and they have it at their fucking house.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude, I love it. Now they're good people. So shit, are you a big pizza guy?
Love pizza, man, especially working for Domino's for so many years. Dude, there's not a pizza that I haven't tried.
That's what I was gonna say. You've been fucking all over the world. Where's got the best pizza?
Ooh, tough choice. Dude, Chicago, man. I love some Lou Malnati's.
Lou Malnati's is good. That was another one of my customers.
And there's another one, man. What's the other one in Chicago?
Geno's?
Giordano's?
Giordano's, that's right.
Yeah,
Giordano's.
yep.
Yeah, Geno's is the sub place. I mean, the Philly cheesesteak place in Philly.
Yeah, I'll have to try that place.
Oh, yeah. You guys play there?
I don't think we go to Philly. Nope.
So where have you been this season?
This season we've been to Florida a couple times, which has been nice. We got to go down to Tampa and Orlando a couple weeks ago. The first freeze here a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we were down in Florida. It was nice. Yeah. Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, Kansas City a bunch of times. There are big rivals here. Milwaukee. I think those are our big trips this year. But yeah, postseason we'll look at going out to the West Coast, probably San Diego or Tacoma. So yeah, man. Get to see some nice stuff. That's the biggest blessing, man. Just getting to travel and see a lot of the country and
hell yeah. Parts. I mean, you get to see the world and play the. At the end of the day, it's a kid's game that you get paid to do. It's your number one passion in life. Like, how fucking great is that? Like,
yeah, man. Such a blessing.
It doesn't get much better than that. And so are you working with kids now, or is that kind of what you're doing to fill the meantime?
Yeah, so that's what I do outside of team obligations. I was blessed when I got here. One of the guys on the team is director of coaching over at one of the youth clubs, and so I got in with them. And
If you want to plug it, go ahead.
yeah, Panathinaikos.
Yeah.
Yeah, Panathinaikos, USA. Great organization from top down. But yeah, they gave me a boys team to coach, so I coach a 09 boys team. So they're what, 9 and 10 years old.
Nice.
So that's fantastic. I never really wanted to be a head coach. I've always wanted to stay more on the speed, strength, and agility side of it. And when they initially brought me in, that was the vision, was just to have me run that part of it.
Right.
And then this 09, they popped up that this 09 team needed a little more direction, and so I hopped in with them. But yeah, man, so I'm doing head coaching, and then a couple nights a week I'm doing speed training with the kids. And then outside of that, I have a couple of personal training clients that I work with, a couple of kids ages 11 to 18 that I do specialized soccer skills with, footwork skills, agility, that type of stuff.
Isn't it the best seeing that shit pay off with them?
Dude, it's the best. So like I make a lot of videos for my Instagram and stuff. So I save all my videos, and there's this one kid that I'm working with right now. And man, from session 1 when I started working with him a year ago to this last session that we did, I'm gonna make a little video montage of just his movement, just the technique of movement, and how much more athletic he looks now. And it's all paying off on the field. So yeah, man, it's so rewarding to see those kids improve and truly start to tap into their potential and what they're capable of.
And see it become, second nature to them. Like,
Yeah.
because you never realize how hard it is to teach something until you try to teach it to, an 8-year-old, a 9-year-old.
100%.
You
man.
know? So I do, like I said, I do a lot of coaching and teaching up at St. Charles Mixed Martial Arts, and 3 nights a week I help teach the kids class. And my daughter's in the class, and our kids class ranges from 5 to 16. So it's like we have all different ages in there, and trying to relay the information to a 5-year-old and to a 15-year-old and then to an 11-year-old when they're all on different stages of their life is it's so crazy to me trying to get that to happen. But then you see them, now they're asking questions like, okay, but why are we doing this? Because I know I have to do this now, but why? And then they start to understand the why of everything, and you just it's like peeking into the Matrix. You see everything start to open up for them. Like you're controlling the strings behind it. I love it. I love it.
Watching those gears start to crank. Yeah, man, it's fantastic.
No, that's good. So do you think that coaching Little League is something you'll try and stay with, or do you want to try and, climb through the ranks?
I'd like to climb the ranks. I want to work with more aspiring professionals. So at that brink of either, first year professional or trying to tap into the professionals or, something like that. I want to work with that, because that, it's a very specific demographic. It's a group of men and women that have started to learn how to tap into their potential, but they need that extra little boost and an extra little push
Guidance.
and extra little guidance.
So it's from somebody who's been there before.
Yeah. So
and that's ultimately my goal as well. I'd like I said, I'm personal training now. I'm doing speed and agility, and I think just being able to put in that work with even if it's just a group. So say you're working with these 10-year-olds right now, right? And how many of them you think will play high school soccer? How many kids do you have?
10 of them.
10 of them.
Yeah.
So how many of them you think will play high school soccer? Maybe 7.
Yeah.
Kids fall out. They get different interests as they get older. Out of 7 of those kids, maybe 4 of them go play college soccer, and one of them goes to play D1. And then he goes off and he works with you in the off season. He gets even better, and then he goes back to school. Oh man, you got to come back. You got to come check out with me and my guy. And now that guy brings 3 of his friends back home. And then all of a sudden you're working with 2 of the top kids in the country, or, it's like, that's just the way I think of it every single time.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's, I don't know.
That's what I'm hoping for. So I actually, over at PAO, the club that I coach at, we just sent our first kid over to, so we're the American Academy for a club in Greece, one of the best clubs in Greece, Panathinaikos. And so we actually just sent a 12-year-old from our club over to the whatever it is, U13 professional team that they have there. And so that's kind of the vision, man, is that when he, as he gets done with the season there and comes back here to America, maybe 1 or 2 of the kids want to come and visit America with him. So now they come and they train with me. We have some really good training sessions, and now all of a sudden Panathinaikos says, hey, we hear about this speed trainer, Rob Acosta, down in St. Louis. Maybe we bring him out for preseason to train the kids. And life's a series of networks, man. So
Absolutely.
the more that I can, the more kids that I can work with, the more people I can get in front of, man, the networks and vessels and different, areas always open up.
So how does that work? Is he like staying with a host family or?
Yeah, he's got a host family there.
So and how long? So he's in Greece right now, a 12-year-old boy
Yeah.
in Greece, staying with the host family, playing soccer on the whole other side of the fucking world.
Yeah, man.
That's
Crazy.
Yeah, how does it
So
feel like
crazy.
just to have your hand in something like that?
Dude, it's such a blessing, man. And like it just kind of fell in my lap too. But yeah, man, he's got a beautiful family, and it's funny talking to his parents because I'm like, man, I don't know how you guys do it. Like, I remember what I was like at 12. Like, I was pretty, mature and responsible. But there's no way that I should be living on the other side of the world,
Oh, I was not mature and responsible at 12. I for sure should not have been living on the other side of the world. Fuck, dude, I was barely keeping my fucking bathroom clean, let alone being able to stay at somebody else's house and follow the rules of a whole new country. And
Right.
because it's not like America at all. You have different levels of respect and things that people expect out of you over there. And,
Yeah.
you got kids over here who are like, shut up, mom. And over there, you get your fucking hand chopped off or some shit like that, depending on where you're at.
Dude, seriously, and that was, not to put him on blast, but we were getting reports back the first 2 months he was there that the family he was with was getting very irritated with him because he was sitting playing video games instead of sitting out and being social with them, and like not keeping certain things clean and like very little things that like, certain families and certain countries take for granted. Like, yeah, man, they're very big on you don't play video games there. You sit and you have conversations with people, and so yeah, it's been good for his perspective and good for the kids that are trying to go from our club, because we still have a few kids that are trying to go over there from our club. So we're like, hey, look, like these are the things that aren't meshing as far as his lifestyle and their lifestyle. So you guys need to be ready for that. You guys need to be ready to go over there with the mentality of, all right, we get to sit and play video games here in America, but that's not the case over there, whatever it is.
Right. Over there, you have to work for everything.
Yeah.
At all times. And if you're not, okay, now you're building this family because this family is the only thing you have at the end of the day. And I feel like that's something here that gets so fucking lost. Everybody in all the, youth in America is always about, oh, fuck my parents. I got to get out. I'm going to be an adult as fast as possible. But, you go over there and experience another culture where it's like, no, family is everything. Family is fucking everything. That's cool, man. So like that's kind of what I want to get into next is sacrifices, right? Like obviously that kid's sacrificing everything that he's known and grown up on to try and learn a different culture to chase his dream and play soccer. And you've obviously had to make some sacrifices yourself. What do you think has been like the biggest sacrifice or some of the biggest sacrifices you've had to make on this journey?
Time without family. That's the biggest thing, man. I'm very, very close to my family, very close to my parents, very close to my brother and sister. My sister has 4-year-old triplets now.
Holy shit!
Yeah, man. So not being able to be around them as much, missing anniversaries, missing birthdays, missing holidays. I rarely get to go back for holidays. Only being able to see the triplets, less than a handful of times so far during their life. One was my godson. So just missing things like with them has definitely been the hardest, biggest sacrifice.
But are they all still back in Arizona? Is everybody scattered now? Or
Yep, everyone's back in Arizona, and I have a very tight-knit family, so they get together, pretty regularly, if not every weekend, every other weekend. So yeah, I love it.
Well, shit. At least when you go home, you can hit them all in one swoop.
Yeah, it's true, man. Hey, and I'm blessed that we live in the time of technology, right? So I can, thank God for Snapchat and FaceTime and things like this. Like, I get to see my nieces and nephew every single day. I get to see my parents and my sister every single day because we're always Snapchatting each other. And,
yeah, I kind of feel the same way. My daughter, I only have her 50% of the time, but there's not one day that I don't see her face. I FaceTime her every morning before school when she's not here. I FaceTime her every day before she goes to bed. It's like, to think about 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, something like that would never even be possible. So to be able to pull out your phone and always, have that piece of home with you at all times, that's got to be a godsend, especially at this point in your journey. You're how many hundreds of miles away from everybody.
Yeah, man.
So go ahead.
Yeah, especially and especially in times of like tough times, because there's so many ups and downs in the world. Any professional sport, soccer especially, and so not being able to just give your parents a hug, it kind of sucks sometimes. But always having access to a message from them or being able to FaceTime mom or whatever it is, huge blessing.
Yeah,
So,
that's good. So and your parents were in town this past weekend, correct?
yeah, man, they got to come out and see, and that was great, man. I got last season I had the best season of my career. I won Defender of the Year for the indoor league, the Major Arena Soccer League. So my father got to actually come and hold the award and hold the trophy this time, and so getting to see that, man, like that was a very special moment in my life.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I mean, especially because obviously, like, being separated for them for 10 years now, really. Like,
Yeah.
well, I mean, what's the longest stint you've spent at home since you've been playing professional soccer?
Man, since I left, I mean, I spent that year and a half back in Arizona when I was injured. But other than that, since I was 18, I haven't been home for longer than a week, 2 weeks.
Right.
So
And to not have that rock there, and to see all the sacrifice not only that you've made, but that your parents have had to make. To see that look on his face has to be amazing. And as a dad, I can only imagine how fucking pumped he was to pick that up and see, like, because it kills me. Like, the longest I have to go without seeing my daughter is 4 days. Like, every other week I have to go like 3.5 days without seeing her. And I couldn't imagine going fucking, months and months at a time. Even when she is 18, I don't even want to fucking think about that. and that was part of, like I said, why I had to stop working for my dad. He traveled 30 to 45 weeks out of the year and still does. Like, he's missed 15 of my last 17 birthdays. Like, he was gone pretty much my whole childhood, and I just couldn't fucking do that to her, man. Like I said, there were some days I was traveling 16 days out of the month just to sit in a hotel room for 8 hours a day. Yeah.
Terrible.
I would be driving. So one of my main trips was I would fly from St. Louis to New Orleans. I'd be there long enough to get my rental car and take a poop at a McDonald's, and then I have to be right on the road 2.5 hours east to Biloxi, Mississippi. I'd be there for a night. I'd have a 20-minute meeting in the morning, and then I have a 7-hour drive north. And then I'm in Jackson, Mississippi for fucking 35 minutes for a meeting with a guy who doesn't want to fucking meet with me anyways, and he's only taking this meeting because I'm my dad's son, and he thinks he's doing my dad a favor. If anything, you're just putting my fucking business off. I'm trying to make moves here, and
Right.
You're meeting with me out of courturity. And then I drive from there. Then I got to from Jackson, Mississippi to Lafayette, Louisiana, and then back. So I'm spending 30, 35 hours, 36 hours gone, 20 hours driving, and none of this time I get to fucking be with my family or do anything that I love. And it was just fucking miserable, man. Like I said, I just couldn't take it. There was a couple of times like you just sitting there like, is this what it's going to be? Is this what's going to be every day for the rest of my fucking life? Because I can't do this if that's what it is,
Right.
So
I think it's good though, man. I think that that's been one of the best things that's happened for me, because that's really, a lot of those times when I was really forced to look inward and look at what was important to me and who I am and what's at the thread of my identity. And, I know at this point that when soccer's over, when it comes to slow down, like priority one is getting closer to family. That's something that I need. You said it, a little bit ago. We've got this mentality, as Americans, it's like, oh, fuck my parents. I can't wait to get out of here. As soon as I'm 18, I'm out of here. And not that was my mentality, but that was kind of my mentality going to college.
I'm a
I was like,
grown-ass
I
man.
can't wait to get the fuck out of here. And here we go. And now here it is. And I've realized my priorities and just how important all that stuff is to me, and my family is to me. And so as much as some of those moments sucked, I absolutely needed them just to figure out who I was and what I stood for.
Yeah, something I've really come to learn over the last few years is being uncomfortable is the best way to get yourself into a comfortable position. It takes getting shit on, and it takes fucking getting kicked down to really put you there. And I guess it's not something that's secret knowledge or anything, but it really is something that you have to experience it for yourself before it even starts to make sense. Because how many times you hear people always say, "Oh, it's the darkest before the dawn." It's the darkest before the dawn. It's like, well, what the fuck does that mean until you're actually there?
Right.
And so it's cool for me to be able to connect with somebody who's been there, and you're way farther down on your journey than I am, but to see that it can be done and that it is being done every single day and people are making the best out of it. I think more people need to see that. And hear the actual story, and not just see, oh, well, this guy's a professional soccer player. He's from Arizona, and this is what he does now. It's like, no, there's fucking shit that goes in the middle of that you have to figure out yourself, So I love that. I love that, man.
Yeah, that's why I'm super grateful you actually contacted me for this podcast, man. The more that I can get out and tell people, just share the story, people see where I'm at now, and they see my Instagram feed now. But man, if you go back, to the very beginning of my feed, it looked way different, man. And like the evolution and the transcendence of self that has happened through mostly the tribulations, through the bad. I use this saying all the time, man. Like let adversity. Let positivity fuel your adversity to lead to greatness. Adversity can't.
Say that again? Just because people need to hear that.
Yeah, let relentless positivity fuel your adversity to lead to greatness. Because adversity can do one of two things, man. It can make you or it can break you. And me being, you see in all my posts, man, positivity is the biggest thing that has gotten me, that has kept my mind sharp and gotten me to where I'm at. And a lot of people, they see circumstances and situations as being negative, and it's like, no, man. Like
indefinite too.
Yeah, it's like situations are just that. The way you perceive and respond to those situations, that's what determines whether they're positive or negative in the impact, in the long run of your life. People see, sports hernia. It's a negative thing, right? Wrong. Like that was the best thing that could have happened to me.
That was a really good problem to have.
Literally the best thing that could have happened to me, and look at what it's has spurned from that. So yeah, man, I'm just grateful that you contacted me, and I can get my story out to more people. And like you said, people need to hear it. They need to hear the relentless amount of work that goes into accomplishing a dream. It doesn't just happen. It's not just immediate gratification isn't a real thing.
Right.
For most
Begin with
people.
the end in mind.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's something that we always search for, especially in this generation of likes and fucking comments and all that shit, is immediate gratification. People are like, okay, well, I worked really hard today. Why don't I have $1 million right now?
Yeah,
Or
yep.
it's like, I have a buddy who always tells the story of the bamboo tree, right? Have you heard this before?
I don't know.
So, bamboo, you water it, you plant the seed, and you water it for 7 years, and nothing comes out of the ground. Nothing. Not a sprout, not a fucking thing. But you have to water it every day. You have to make sure the soil's good. And then on that 7th year, that bamboo tree shoots up 10, 20 feet in the air. But, was it not growing the whole time? What was it doing? You're watering that seed. You're taking care of it. You're making sure that shit happens. Like, you got to treat life like bamboo, man.
That's fantastic.
There is no instant gratification.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Because instant gratification fades just as fast as you get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well, I got one like, well, where's the next one? Where's the next one after that?
Right.
So the process of being able to put in hard work, or the process of acknowledging being able to put in hard work, I think is just as much of a journey as actually putting in the hard work itself. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. People, like I said, searching for that instant gratification is only setting yourself back, if anything. But, and you touched on this earlier as well. You're wanting to start more of a brand for yourself. Like, obviously everybody's got their own Instagram and everybody's posting their own videos, and you're preaching positivity, but what else are you trying to build besides that?
Yeah. So, I've currently, the biggest platform I'm known under right now is Acosta Fitness. It's my Instagram that's got all my relevant stuff on it, soccer, fitness, all that stuff. But I seek to make a greater impact, and there's going to be a point where I can only make an impact with the people that know my face under Acosta Fitness. So my vision is to start a brand that doesn't need a face behind it, doesn't need me driving it. It'll start with kind of my followers and the people that have started to attach to my message, but then hopefully it can spread bigger than that. So yeah, man, I just seek to well, I'll just kind of share the vision with you.
Yeah,
man.
absolutely.
So it's called Grinding Fitness, and it's the idea that fitness is a grind, man. Like, no matter where you are, whether you're a professional athlete, whether you're an aspiring athlete, whether you've made it, whether you haven't made it, whether you're looking to lose weight, every single person that I've come across in my fitness journey, whether it's a soccer player, non-soccer player, keep grinding is the biggest phrase. So I seek to take this community of people that already exist, the grinders, the people that are already grinding, and just cultivate it and bring it all together under the same umbrella. So Grinding Fitness is the brand that I'll be starting. I've got a mobile app in development. I've got T-shirts. You know, I've got logos and images and a whole clothing line. You know, in mind with it. But essentially, it's just to harness this group of people that is already out there grinding, and use their resources to help each other, both in like a social media standpoint and informational standpoint, and just kind of cultivate the network.
So, and with the app, is it going to be like just workouts, or is like discussion boards on like, okay, hey, this is what I found is effective for, you know, week 3, you know, of the preseason schedule for your training regimens and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, so the version 1 that we're going to be launching this year is just going to be workouts. It's really just to test the back end of it. My app developer is new to this as well, so he's kind of testing a lot of stuff. And then year 2, we're going to move more into nutrition, and then year 3, we seek to make it that full social experience where people can go in and actually comment on certain parts of the workout or about certain workouts, or you know, people will have different profiles, so you know they can even start to brand themselves as experts with certain type of workouts, so that people new to the app can go to them like, hey, I'm new to the app, like, you know, what did you do? And so yeah, man, it'll essentially start as just workouts, but then it'll grow into a full thing where people can communicate with each other and share resources, share knowledge, share experiences.
Now, is it going to be sport specific workouts, or?
It'll be everything. It'll be because the big I seek to make an impact in not only athletes' lives, but the lives of non-athletes. And I feel like that's such a big avenue, especially here in America, as the non-athletes, just getting people healthy, getting people moving, getting people active, and getting them the right resources for what health looks like. You've got so many people that are, you know, Americans are bombarded with these 30-day diets and 30-day challenges.
Makes me fucking sick.
It's fucking ridiculous, man. It's like, where's the sustainability in any of that?
Do this for 30 days, drink a detox tea, and you're going to be a fucking Instagram model.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking, and then what for the next fucking 60 years of your life? Like, come on, like, form a habit. Like, people are so resistant and against forming a habit. It's like, they're afraid of the work that it's going to take to form that new habit. It's like, man, it takes 21 days to form a habit. Think about 21 days versus the next 50 years of your life.
Yeah,
you know?
time is irrelevant.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yep, it's a construct, man. So like, so yeah, man. So I seek to really be able to, especially the people looking to lose weight. You know, obesity is a huge epidemic here in this country. So, you know, the people suffering from obesity, I hope to be able to provide a huge channel and network for them.
And I feel like, especially in the age of social media and acceptance, that obesity's almost become acceptable. You know, like, oh, big is beautiful, blah blah blah. Like, it's okay to be comfortable with who you are and not be ashamed that you look fat or whatever, but it's never okay to be unhealthy. That's, you know, yes, some people have bigger frames, but being obese is not having a bigger frame.
And that's the biggest thing that I preach to people all the time. Yes, self-love is very important. Love yourself. Don't hate yourself. But love the healthiest, know what the healthiest version of yourself looks like, and search for that. You know, everyone has a certain amount of body fat they need in their body.
Right.
You know, it's the essential amount of body fat. For men, it's 2 to 5%. For women, I think it's 10 to 13% or something like that. And then you have certain classifications above that. So athletes, healthy, obese. Everyone has that certain amount of fat they need. Everything above that is not needed fat, and that shouldn't be loved, because it's all it's doing is making life harder for you. It's putting more stress on your joints, putting more stress on your bones, putting more stress on all your internal organs, literally sending distress signals to your brain at all times. So
your body's fighting to stay alive.
Right. Like,
know?
you don't need excess fat in the body. And so, you know, love yourself, but love the fact that you're meant for the best possible version of yourself. So yeah, man, I want to give people the tools and resources to really find out what that is, what that looks like for them.
Right. Hey, and like you said, at least you're on that fucking journey, man.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. So app will be available when? Do you know? Got a target date?
We're looking at Q2. We were hoping for Q1, but he had to do something else in the back end. So we're looking at hopefully, what is that, beginning of March, middle of March?
Yeah, I think the second week of March.
Yep.
This fiscal quarter.
Yep.
Now we're talking business instead of life.
Yeah, man.
Oh, well.
And he knows that better than I do, but
It's always good to have one of those guys.
yeah,
It's
man.
always, I got the ideas, you got the business, boom, let's fucking put them together.
Dude, and that was such a blessing the way this guy came to me, man. I was, not to get off tangent, or I
Hey,
don't know what
dude,
you're.
we have no tangent, we have
Yeah,
no time.
man.
I mean, we have all the tangents and no time limit.
All right, beautiful. Yeah. Man, my app developer is such a huge blessing, man. So like I was training his kids back when I was living in Iowa, running sports specific workouts for them, speed and agility type stuff. Well, they knew that there was only I was only going to be there for a matter of time. I wasn't happy with the ownership there. I was looking to get traded. And so he's like, hey man, when you leave here, we want you to continue working with the kids. And I was like, well, I don't know how I'm going to do that. I was like, I can write down workouts for you or something. He's like, you don't have like an app or like a website or anything you can send the videos to the kids? And I was like, I don't really have anything like that right now, but I would absolutely love to at some point. He's like, okay, all right, interesting. So like 2 weeks later, I'm over at his house running another private session for his kids, and we get done with the session. He's like, hey man, come downstairs real quick. I got something to show you. I was like, all right. So I go down, and sure enough, man, he's one of those guys that's got the triple monitors up,
Yeah.
and each of the monitors, man, he's got a different screenshot of this mobile app that he's developing. I told him about the idea for Grind and Fitness and things like that. So sure enough, he's just got the Grind and Fitness logo that I had developed already at the top of it, and he's just got a couple like screenshots. And I'm like, what's this? He's like, yeah, I'm just gonna build you an app, man. He's like, it's kind of what I do. I'm wanting to learn how to build a more in-depth app like this, so I'm gonna learn how to build an app, and I'm gonna build you an app. I was like, okay, well, I don't really have any money to like pay you to do this. He's like, no. He's like, we'll just talk percentages once you get the app up and running. But for now, he's like, I want you to have something to work with my kids, and I see how special you are in working with kids, so I want to give you an entire platform so you can work with as many people as possible. Like fan-freaking-tastic,
Yeah.
man. So now here we are a year and a half later, and I've made his first thing was, he's like, all right, man, but I'll be really honest with you. I know the business and the computer side of it. I don't know shit about the fitness side of it. So you have to provide all the content. You have to provide everything that, he's like, I'll provide the framework. You provide everything that goes in that framework. So sure enough, man, it's been a year and a half of just growing with him, and I've produced 750 how-to videos for exercises that I've started to load onto my YouTube channel that'll be connected with the app. But yeah, man, just a huge blessing in the way that he came into my life and the way that we just started working with each other. And
Well, and I'm a firm believer, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about it on every podcast that I've recorded, and that for my own and other people's, I'm a giant believer in energy. So it's like, to me, you manifested that. Like everything that you've done created that app for you. You know what I'm saying? That guy sees how not only serious you are about soccer or training, but about who you are as a person. And like, this is your infinite purpose. Like, this is what you were supposed to be doing. And you created that energy around yourself. And it just starts attracting the right people to it all the time.
I love that. You ever read The Secret?
I have not.
You ever heard of it?
Yeah. My buddy Brandon, who was the Bamboo K.
Okay.
He's on me every single day. Oh, dude, you got to read this book. You got to read this book. You got to read this book. I probably have 9 books upstairs that he's bought me that I haven't fucking cracked open. Yeah, I kind of feel like a bad friend. Sorry, B. Love you. But no, go ahead.
Yeah, man. If The Secret changed my life. I don't read books often. I can't sit down and engage. 2019 is going to be my year of reading. So it's going to change.
You're putting that out there. It's
Exactly.
manifested.
Yep. The more that I say it.
Yep.
Yep. But yeah, man, I read that book a couple years ago, and it explains the law of attraction from a physics standpoint from the universe. So
Right.
it talks about everything that you just said, how you truly can manifest your identity and what you want by constantly talking about it, constantly thinking about it. The energy that you're letting off around certain people, you attract and detract literally everything in the universe. So it's so you're absolutely right. I did attract that guy, and I will continue to attract. We have some hurdles coming up ahead of us as far as how we're going to market the app, things that neither one of us specialize in. But I know that the more that we build it, and the more that I envision it, the more that I'll bring in the right pieces.
Absolutely. Yeah. What do you think's been the toughest part of this process so far with developing the brand?
I think just realizing how much I don't know. Like, I've always considered myself to be like a pretty smart and intelligent, and like I can figure anything out. But it's been a struggle to say, hey, I don't know how to do this. This has to go on the list of for someone that I need to find someone that knows how to do this. Like website building, for example. Like I was like, oh, I can build a website, no problem.
Yeah, I'm not dumb. I'll figure this out. Oh, what do these zeros and ones mean?
This thing, the plug and play website that I created looks like, I mean, it doesn't look like a 5-year-old did it, but it does not look that good.
It looked like it's from 1999.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like I go to some other people's websites. I'm like, all right, yeah, this needs to be something that I delegate to someone else. So it's like, it's been a challenge to overcome the ego and realize, hey, I can't do it all. I need a lot of help.
Yeah. But I don't know if it's overcoming the ego, because you're always going to have an ego to fucking be successful, especially in business and sports. Is it more overcoming it, or just like, whew, take a breath, set it to the side for a second, and then I'm going to bring it right back?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
I think, and I, like I said, I'm, on this journey myself, and that's something I've really fucking struggled with. So I was kind of hoping you would say that too, so I don't feel as bad. But that's good, man. So obviously your Instagram is fucking popping right now, almost 14,000 followers. How is the traction are you getting on YouTube?
A lot slower, but it's just because that's an avenue I still don't know that much. Right now, all I'm really doing is just putting out these how-to videos. I think the way I see YouTube, the way, I've never really spent too much time on it aside from the last few months. And so now that I'm on there, I feel like a lot of people put on, they put the camera in front of them and they start to talk to people. And it's a lot of like face to face. And my videos are very like, it's 1 minute or less of essentially me, 10 feet away doing the exercise with a voiceover of here's how you do the exercise. So I feel like once I figure out how to drive people to it, it'll be a good resource. And once it's more than just how-to videos, it'll drive more people to it. But for now, I just don't have enough like captivating content on it.
Oh, well, I think you do. I think it's just like you said, figuring it out, because obviously you have captivating content and you got 14,000 followers, 100,000 views. People are watching, right? So I guess it's just really finding the avenue of how to flood them back to a different channel.
Right.
And that's something I struggle with, with like the podcast and everything. Like, do I create a separate page for my podcast? Because why would I separate my audience? I already have 800 or 850 or whatever, how many followers I have, but now do I create a new page with 0 followers and try and drive everybody there into 2 places? So I think that's a big struggle. Is like I don't think you can oversaturate, but it's just trying to get these people to go in different directions when everybody's trying to pull them in 1,000 different directions anyways.
Right.
Right.
But and dude, that's absolutely right. So I started an Instagram page for Grinding Fitness at the beginning of this year. And it's been, dude, I thought, hey, no problem. Like as soon as I start posting stuff from Grinding Fitness to Acosta Fitness, I'll just have, even if 10% of those followers hop over, like it's a good following for Grinding Fitness to start off in. But no, man, like I'm very religious about posting my Grinding Fitness, making posts to that account, and then sharing it to my Acosta Fitness account. And here we are in into February, and I've got 60 followers to Grinding Fitness.
Right.
So it was like, so I had to make that decision at the beginning of the year. Like, man, do I just try to put all the content that I have planned for Grinding Fitness? Do I just put that into Acosta Fitness, or do I start another account with 0 followers and try to get the traction to it? It's going to be hard, but I did it, and I'm going to continue to do it. But yeah, man, I know exactly what you're thinking, what you've been through.
To me, it's you're trying to pull 2 people to go to this in two different directions to end up back at the same place.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think it's a little different with YouTube and Instagram though, just because they're completely different platforms. They kind of serve the same purpose, but like, I think having like 2 Instagrams, like I think that's going to be way harder than trying to get people to go to the YouTube, because Instagram, you can be like, hey, here's my minute-long video, and if you'd like to see a full workout, follow the link in the bio. Come to my YouTube page or whatever, right? And at least you could plug it at the end of every single one instead of having to get some. I don't know. That's just how I've been trying to tackle things lately. But I think that social media is probably it's so good and it's so bad for everything, because people get caught up in the content and not the work. Like there's how many fucking Instagram booty models do you see out there? They're posting, videos like, what are you doing? well, that's not a workout. Why would I follow you for a workout? You're like, are you selling meal plans? Are you doing anything else like this? You know, like they're selling the allure of, you know, what it could be rather than what it really is. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like I'm fucking just rambling.
No, it's all good, man. Honestly, it's a frustrating thing in the fitness world because, yeah, man, you see all these people that are just putting out nonsense, like not even relevant content, not even relevant information, but especially with these females because they got a big booty and they're willing to post, you know, 18 pictures a week of the same exact image or the same exact angle and everything.
Yeah.
But somehow they've got 110,000 followers. It's like, it's frustrating for someone who's trying to, you know, come in and put relevant content and gain traction but you know, it is what it is.
Do you listen to Andy Frisella's podcast?
I do, man.
Did you hear last week's episode when they were kind of touching on a subject like this? He's like, you know, would you rather have 1.2 million followers and 70 to 80% of them are, you know, not in the field that you specialize in, or would you rather have 10,000 followers and all of those people want to know what you have to say? Because, like, you know, you take one of these Instagram models, she's got fucking 2 million followers, right? And how many of them you think are guys? 1.7 million, right?
Right.
You know? And the other fucking 300,000 are girls like, well, how do I get my ass like that? And, you know, half of that are like, okay, I just want to look at her because she's got nice leggings and I know she ain't got no fucking real workouts and those are fake asses. And, you know, so it's like at the end of the day, she might have 200,000 real followers that she could market to. Because, like, you know, if you have 1.7 million followers and you're selling detox teas, how many of those guys are fucking buying them? Right. But, you know, somebody like you have 14,000 followers, right? And how many of them are athletes or into fitness? And, you know, so it's like you have a controlled market who people are listening. Like, you're getting the views, you're getting the traction. Like, they were saying that it's way more beneficial to have a real audience than to have somebody who's just looking at you to follow. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's true, and that's actually a really good point. And yeah, I love the Instagram demographics for their business channels because, yeah, man, I get to see exactly who I'm impacting. And my friend and I were talking a few weeks ago, actually, because I was like, I don't really know, like, I would have thought that would have had like 50-50 male and female followers, that just a bunch of random people interested, whatever. But no, man, like I'm actually hitting the exact market that I want to hit. You know, I've got 90% male followers that are athletes, that are active and that are following certain hashtag agility and hashtag, you know, agility ladder things.
Right. Like
So,
I
yeah,
said,
man,
that's how I found you.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's literally all. So yeah, man. So you're exactly right. And I'd much rather have this group of people that are actually interested in what I have to say and actually searching for my post. Hey, what's the exercise that he's got on there today? You know, what's the message he's got today? So yeah.
So you have the business page on Instagram, right? Are you paying for ads on there, or are you just letting it go free?
It's all organic at this point.
Which is crazy, especially with the success that you've had, because and for a while I did, you know, some digital marketing and social media marketing and stuff like that. You know, say you have a business page like you do, right? Or an athlete page, which is considered a business page, right?
Right.
They see you as, okay, this person is a business, this is an entity, and now they are advertising their platform on our platform, right? So typical Instagram, Facebook statistics, you get shown, like, I think it's anywhere from 8 to like 14% of your active followers and people that you interact, who have common interests and interactions as you, right? So that's why, like, on Facebook, you see the same fucking 35 people every day, right?
Sure.
It's all, but you have 2,000 followers, you know, 2,000 friends, but you're only seeing the same few people, right? When you have a business page, they take that and pretty much cut it in half because, okay, this is a business. This business should have money. They're advertising on our platform, and now we want their money to advertise on our platform, right? So the fact that you've had the traction you've had already and you haven't put a single dollar into a marketing fund other than your outside business, which, as you should anyways, you know, it to me is fucking incredible. Like, that just shows that the message is truly translating, and like you said, you're hitting exactly what you want. Male athletes from certain age, and they're active in their sports, like, and they're all listening. They're all spread the message. That's fucking
and it's crazy how it happened too, man. Because like I set goals over the last couple of years. I decided beginning of 2018 or beginning of 2017 that I was going to try to grow. That's when like the grind and fitness app guy came to me, and so I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna grow Acosta Fitness to 10,000 followers, and then from there, then I'm gonna start to convert those followers over to Grinding Fitness.
How many followers were you at that point?
At that point, I was about 650 followers.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I was like, all right, so by the end of 2017, I'm gonna be at 5,000 followers. And then by the end of 2018, I'll be at 10,000 followers. Those are my goals. I wrote it on my vision board. I wrote it down 100 times. Like, I was like, these are my goals. This is how it's going to happen. So 2017, the goal was to hit 5,000 followers. Well, I hit 4,600, grew from 650 to 4,600 by January 1st of 2018. So fell just short of my mark, but I was like, pretty close. I'm still going to push for 10. Well, I started going backwards in followers at that point. I started losing followers. I don't know if I hit one of Instagram's, I must hit their bad algorithm or whatever it was, but I started going backwards. And so pretty soon I was at 4,100 followers. So I'd fallen down. I was like, I'm just going to keep pushing. So there was months where I was losing followers, didn't gain any followers, was still putting out a ton of videos, ton of information.
Were you just putting out videos, hashtagging, and commenting on other people's videos on the hashtag?
Yeah, same stuff as always. Like never, I didn't change anything in what I was doing in this period of time.
Just consistent.
Just kept doing day in, day out. So then middle of 2018, middle of last year, all of a sudden, dude, just started to pop again. Started picking up a few followers. In September or in August, I hit 5,000 followers finally. So I was like, September. Well, I got a few months, but I'm still gonna hit this 10,000 mark. No doubt, dude. End of December, it was like the first week of December in 2018, I hit 10K. So I was 8 months behind target in hitting 5K. Kept pushing out, kept putting out content, didn't pay for anything, just relied on organic growth. And then sure enough, 3 weeks ahead of schedule, I beat my 10K mark. And now I'm at almost 14K.
Yeah, almost at 14,000 now. And we're barely, not even full 2 months into 2019.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's been crazy, man.
So I think the growth is even crazier than just having that many followers. Because to me, 14,000 followers, like we said, if you're thinking of it in terms of filling up a stadium, right? That's every stadium here, other than the Dome downtown, but that's 40-something thousand. And now since my fucking Rams are gone, we can't fill a fucking seat in the house, so fuck them. But, dude, you have no idea. When they left, I pretty much didn't leave the house for 2.5 days.
Man.
Yeah, I cried.
Oh, yeah.
That was my first love was the Rams, It was awful. So to see them losing the Super Bowl made me pretty fucking happy. I'll be a Rams fan again when Stan Kroenke dies, but until then he can fucking include it against my city and my heart and fucking. That was terrible. Fucking, where were we? I don't know. I'm sorry. Where were we though? Where were we? Fuck. Oh well.
Shit.
It happens.
It does happen.
It fucking happens, especially here. Fucking.
Oh, Instagram followers.
Yeah, Instagram. God, back at it. Go.
So yeah, man. So we'll see. So now the next goal is to hit 15K. I mean, that's going to happen like nothing. And the next goal will be to start to monetize it, right? So everything at this point has just been put out information, and but as I grow, as I grow the business and grow the brand, the next step will be all right, how do what's the best way to monetize it? I'm not looking to get rich. I'm just looking to pay for my time putting out this information. You know what I'm saying? I just want to help out as many people as possible. I want to help out the entire world, to be honest, every single person in the entire world. So that'll be the next challenge, is how do I start to monetize it? How do I start to grow it in that avenue? But in the meantime, I'm just gonna continue to try to grow the followers.
And so are you affiliated with any other Instagrams or Instagram companies that have reached out to you for branding?
There's been people that have reached out as far as being partners for their products and stuff, but nothing as far as partnership with my brand or anything like that. I'd like to. I just did a big competition with First Form to end 2018. I didn't win the competition. I was trying to be their next sponsored athlete, and that was kind of the vision, was to get their help in launch, you said you listened to the Frisella podcast.
Yeah.
The dude's freaking amazing, man.
Absolutely.
Like, what a fucking entrepreneur, man. So yeah, the more that I'm going to keep saying it, I will find a way to get involved with First Form because I feel like the resources and the network they have, that's the direction, that's the professionalism that I need to grow my identity and my brand to the next level. I honestly think it's one of the reasons that I was brought to St. Louis was to get in the synergy of First Form, get with Andy Frisella, you know, all those people. So yeah.
I'm honestly, besides Andy being Andy, because Andy could be this successful even if he didn't have First Form just by speaking and fucking talking to people. But their products really are the best shit I've ever. I've been working out and taking supplements for 13 years now, and First Form products are the absolute pinnacle to me.
Yeah,
you know, and for what they stand for as a company, and just the benefits you see from the products, you know. And to hear, like, it's a guy from South City who fucking literally went for broke. The guy was living in the back of his store with fucking 2 dogs and a roommate trying to get the shit off the ground, you know?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you want to be associated with a guy like that, you know?
Right. Yeah, man. So like I had initially, the sports psychologist at St. Louis at the Ambush was the one that pointed me in the direction. I never heard of First Form, never heard of Andy Frisella. I was having a conversation with him one day just about my vision and my identity of self. And he was like, oh, you ever heard of Andy Frisella? And it's like, no, who the fuck's that guy? So sure enough, went on and listened to him and applied for the competition at the end of 2018. And I had Fresh Time, you know Fresh Time?
Yeah.
They had a huge sale on supplements back in October. So I bought literally months and months of supplements.
They got the best deals on supplements.
Yeah, dude. I was getting like $40 containers for like $6 because they were like clearing them out. So I didn't need supplements. So I had no need to try the First Form supplements. But so as I got further in the competition, I started to learn more about. I started to listen to the Frisella podcasts and the MFCEO, all that type of stuff. And I definitely started to fall in love with the vision that First Form had as far as helping change the lives of every single person on this earth. I loved Andy's story, where he came from. I love his realness and his podcast, all that type of stuff. And then finally, 2 weeks ago, I finally ran out of some of my supplements, so I picked up some First Form. So then I actually tried the supplements. Yeah, dude, not only is it a freaking great company, dude, but it's a fucking amazing...
Everything.
Yeah, dude, I tried one of their bars, one of their... protein bars.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude, best protein bar I've ever had. Tried their vegan protein shake, fucking delicious. And then tried their the other main protein, the whey protein blend that they have, and it's all incredible.
Dude,
so
everything. One thing you said earlier that I don't think it's a thing that's a secret either, that most successful people do have a vision board. Right? If you can't see it, if you can't visualize it, if you can't look at that message every single day, chances are it's probably not going to fucking happen. How long have you been on that vision board train?
Dude, so I walk around with my vision board.
Holy shit.
So I took it to the next level, man. I started to see the power of like what the vision board did in my, dude, literally anything that I wrote down and said to myself repeatedly, like I take monumental strides in getting there. It doesn't always happen on my, like, as quick as I want it to, but it happens. Like, Defender of the Year, man, I was saying Defender of the Year for 3 years before that. I decided a couple years ago, I was like, man, I want to be, so I started writing on my vision board, whatever. So
for the people who are fucking listening, he's got rubber bands on his wrist right now with all of his visions written on them that he's wearing.
Yep. So I started with just the vision board in my room, and man, psychologically, there's a very powerful effect on the brain when you see your goals written in your handwriting. And I tell people that all the time. Don't type your goals. Don't type it into your phone. Don't write it down. Write it down somewhere where you're going to see it all the time, because it's like when you see it, it just has that crazy psychological connection. So yeah, man. So then even a couple years ago, it happened when I was getting my surgery, because I had to be very, very regimented about my lifestyle, and I had to be very specific and strict about what I was putting in. And alcohol was one of the biggest things that was going to set me back at that point. And sure enough, it was easy to drink at that point because I was
laid up.
I was pretty depressed. Like,
beers feel good after a few painkillers.
Yeah, exactly, man. Go out with my buddies, whatever. And so like I started writing no alcohol in one of them. or on a rubber band, and it just had such a powerful effect, because even anytime I was like tempted to grab it, I just saw it on my hand and I was like, man, like I can't do that to myself right now, you know. And so then I started doing it with other little habits, like, you know, eat vegetables and then eat fruit, and then I started to change it into, you know, whatever my whatever my squat goal was for the week, or whatever my 40 time goal was for the week, as I was setting my performance goals for getting back fit. So I started to write it down, and sure enough, as I wrote things down, I check them off the list. And even for a while, I even had this cup in my room with all of my accomplished rubber bands on my cup. I wish I had kept it. I don't have it anymore, but yeah, man. So now at this point, whatever my big visions are, I write down on my wrist, and then I write down, there's two of the most influential Bible verses in my life. I write those down on my wrist also, just because they keep me grounded and keep me focused.
That's amazing, dude. That
Yeah.
for real, like that is next level. I've always been a big proponent of the vision board and writing out your goals. And like you said, not typing them, because that's not you. That's a machine.
Right.
That's a machine putting information into another machine.
Yeah.
That's you're writing it up into a cloud, whatever the fuck that is.
Right.
You know, and I do that like a lot with my thoughts, like whether it's positive or negative. So like I will take all of my thoughts for the day, or just over the few days, write them down, the good ones on a separate piece of paper, bad ones on another one. And those bad ones, I just crumple them up and I throw them away. You know, because
Dude, I
getting
love
that, I'm
that.
getting that out of existence.
Yeah.
Like, I'm taking those feelings out of my body, putting them somewhere else, and then making sure that I'm never going to see them again.
I love that.
You know, yeah, you might have the same thing happen to you fucking 4 days in a row and it's a fucking shitty day. But if you can write that down and put that out of there, boom, it's less likely. It's less likely. It's less likely. And now you're not focused on that anymore. Now you have this list of great things that have happened to you. It might only been one good thing, but if that's what you got, that's what you got. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to see you walk around with literally your dreams on you at all times, like,
Yeah, man. Like I'll show, like I got Grind and Fitness. Grind and Fitness is on there, along with the Bible verse, "Delight thyself in the Lord, and He'll give you the desires of your heart." Because that's like the biggest desire of my heart. Because I seek to be able to impact every single person. It's going to be through Grind and Fitness. Then I seek to win an MASL title this year for the Major Arena Soccer League. So yeah, I got that. I won't read you all of them, but yeah, man, that's like just a little example there. And so it's powerful, man, because literally anytime I'm like tempted to do something that doesn't align with my vision, my goals, I'm smacked back to reality. Or anytime, and literally I say my goals to myself, 20, 30, 40, 50 times a day, and that's, if that doesn't manifest a dream, I don't know what does.
right. Well, let's end it here on this. Like I said, the premise of this podcast is why not, people out there not chasing their dreams, not doing what they should to make themselves happy, not doing what they should to make their lives better. So why don't you go ahead and leave them with a message on why they can? Why not? Why aren't you doing that?